Kim Barrett. How you doing, mate?
Doing well, good sir. I gotta say that's probably one of the best intros I've been a part of in the background. Just got me pumped up for tonight.
Yeah, you've got to get the amps up, haven't you?
I love it.
How are you doing, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Live. Drop in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know you're alive. Let us know you're breathing. I bumped into a couple of dudes who watch Monday Night Live on Friday after work drinks. And I said, well, you never jump in the comments. So if you're tuning in and you saw me Friday night, jump in the comments, say hello. Hey, Oliver, how are you? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Kim Barrett joining us tonight. Many of you will know Kim. He's been on LinkedIn Heroes before. We've done the live event together. I was a speaker at Certified Ballers, the huge event he ran at the stadium here in Perth. He was a finalist with Social Media Agency of the Year. He's won 2 Comma Club awards. Your Social Voice is, I would arguably say, the leading Facebook advertising agency that I'm aware of in the world, definitely in Australia. He's who I recommend my clients to go see when they want to get their Facebook ads optimized and working. Kim, how's it going? How's business?
Amazing, man. It's been great, and thank you so much for having me on. Again, I always love whenever we get a chance to have a good chat. I'm always down for it, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Kim, for those of you that haven't come across you before, do you mind just sharing like a 2 or 3 minute overview of your background and how you got into what you do today?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously what we do is we focus on helping businesses grow online, really, chosen through Facebook. So the reason that we chose that is because when I very first started out, I was playing with all different stuff online. I was playing with affiliate marketing, SEO, building websites, doing a whole bunch of different stuff. And for me, like the real world, it's the only thing that stops a business from being successful is marketing and sales. And I found that, especially when it came to marketing, there wasn't really, like when I was going through things, I went to university and studied marketing, all this sort of stuff. There wasn't really anything that was a simple process for people to be able to bring more people in. There was like, oh, cool, you've got to do all of this like general marketing stuff to appeal to a mass market to hopefully get your ideal person to listen to you and then maybe come in. And then you have the advertising side, which is like, cool, you can do like TV, radio, maybe a billboard or something like that, or a local newspaper, most of which, again, was pretty expensive at the time and not really targeted at all. It's like, put an ad in the newspaper or on the radio. It's like, well, they can give you the statistics, but what if that day someone doesn't read the newspaper, someone's like, the radio station doesn't run your ad, or you run the ad and you give them the wrong phone number. And it's like, well, unlucky, right? You can't really do much about it. So in my eyes, when Facebook first came out, it had the most targeting ability, arguably the best that we probably ever had in the history of advertising and marketing. Obviously, due to privacy, a lot of that's gone now and changed and kind of adjusted, but whether that's positive or negative, but they really didn't have any other option that could give you that detailed amount of insights that Facebook gives you. Arguably now Google's come to the party with pretty decent targeting ability. Obviously has LinkedIn with LinkedIn ads as well, but I still am a huge fan for the ability of using Facebook. And as soon as I could figure out how to use it, I just stayed in my lane. I was like, I'm just going to learn this, going to master this and just become good.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I want to bring up. Like one is, I don't know if you did any marketing studies at all during your career, but I went to university and did a marketing degree, and we didn't do one unit on digital marketing at all. And now they're doing it, but it's already out of date because they're getting a lot of their content from Google. By the time somebody graduates, a lot of it's out of date. And I think when people go into Facebook advertising, like they hear all the hype, they don't realize how much there is to it. Like digital marketing is a very skilled occupation these days. So how did you learn? Did you learn through trial and error, pretty much like I did on LinkedIn, or did you find something that that was the equivalent of a university degree that actually taught you something?
A bit of everything. Definitely a lot of trial by fire and wasting money. It's at least on LinkedIn, it's like, hopefully you didn't have to burn through too much cash. It's like with a bad ad campaign, because it's paid advertising on Facebook. It's like, yeah, cool. Spend $1,000 on ads, no leads. Oh, that's not fun. So
a
lot of
more of that more recently with LinkedIn ads. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of that, but I also did reach out to, there was like a couple of people. It was hard to find good people, especially in Australia at the time. But I did have a good mentor who I reached out to, and I was like, hey, like, can you help me get good at Facebook ads? Paid him a king's ransom at the time to learn and to really hone it. And then I had started developing my own skills, experience, and obviously, started working with my own budgets for me as my business, and then started bringing on clients, helping them get wins, helping them, and most of the time, so 99% of the time, we can help clients. The only time that we have issues is where, especially if you ever hire an ad agency or you go to something, like if someone goes to you for consulting or goes to you for a LinkedIn campaign, it's like you need to have full trust in the person that you're going to. It's like you need to let them take control. Most of the time where issues arise that I found is where people like to put harnesses on you. What I mean by that is like hold you back a little bit from what you actually want to do. So I know that like we worked together, as you mentioned before, you spoke at CBL. We worked on the campaign for CBL together through LinkedIn. And I said, do whatever you want to do, do it. Like I'm hands off. I'm not going to tell you I don't want to do anything. Let's make it work.
Perfect.
And that's that's what I think people need to be like to get good results, because it's like otherwise you may as well do it yourself.
Yeah, and do you think that's to do with the fact that there's so many cowboys in our industry and people have been burned in the past?
It definitely is. I mean, sometimes I think it does fall down to a little bit of the control side of things, and it's like but if you pay and invest in someone to do something for you, you should have the trust that they could represent your brand in an accurate way. So I, in my personal opinion, I believe that to be true. But it does happen that there are a lot of cowboys and a lot of people go like, oh, well, someone's told me that they can do this, but I kind of don't believe it. Even though they've paid you, they're like, oh, like maybe, but like, what if no one responds or nothing happens? So yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Scarcity mindset as well. Yeah. So I know that this is a question on a lot of the viewers and listeners' minds, so we'll get into it early on. Apple iOS update. Thoughts? Good thing? Bad thing?
Look, I personally wish, as an advertiser, I wish that they didn't do it. Like, I just truly wish that they didn't go and do that, because it frustrates the crap out of me.
I don't think you're the only one.
Yeah. But like the positive is that we talked about before, the Cowboys, it has kind of elicited and removed the people that didn't know what they were doing. Because if you didn't know what you were doing before, there's no way you're figuring it out with iOS 14, which is good. So, and for anyone that's not aware, basically what happened is that, and it's with iOS, and it's not just Facebook, it's a lot of the platforms, they gave you the option to opt out of tracking. Not all tracking, but opt out of most of the tracking. So they can still track one or two things that you do and actions that you take. And it caused a few problems only because Facebook, I don't think, realized how many people would opt out. I personally opt in because I want to see targeted stuff. I want to see real stuff. I want to see the ads that are targeted to me, not just some general stuff. So I stayed in.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Apparently they thought maybe 50%, and in excess of 80% to 90% of people have opted out of tracking.
Yeah, right.
So that's what's caused the biggest problem, is just the size of the portion of people that have done it. Now, it's taken a while, but now if you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing with tracking, if you can actually understand the back end of Facebook, you can get around and still get pretty decent tracking results. E-commerce has probably been the biggest hit from a tracking perspective, because they used to try and track website views, adds to carts, payment ad information, completed checkouts, all that sort of stuff. Now you can really only get one clear, concise conversion event, so it's a bit painful, but it's working.
Is it only iPhones that are affected, or all types of media?
For the interim, yes. And this is the other funny thing, right? Is that Google's also announced all these policy changes coming up, to the point where Google Chrome, being one of the most popular browsers, is also going to reject cookies and tracking. But no one seems to care about Google, and no one's kicking up a stink about them. But it's all like Apple and Facebook. I think it's because as well, Apple are rolling out their own ads platform. So I think that they want to cause a disruption. They want to cause unrest. So if they do that, then when a new ad platform comes out, everyone's going to be like, oh, Facebook sucks because of the iOS update, which was Apple's fault. And then they're hoping, I think, to attract some advertisers across to Apple as well.
Oh, the competition is fierce in the tech world.
That's it.
We're going to give a shout out to a few of the dudes tuning in. By the way, guys, as we go, jump in with your questions. Make the most of the time that we've got with Kim. Hey, Nick. How you doing? Panda. We've got Paul from Bangkok. I'm going through these relatively quickly. We've got a big audience today. Matthew's over on Facebook. Got Lacey tuning in from Perth. How you doing? And Michael. What is this? Rumour.
I can pull it off.
Kim's beard is... How you doing, Jared? Good to see you. Oh, well, thanks for being so active in the comments, guys. Oh, we got Amber here. Facebook turning into metaverse company. I'm not even sure what a metaverse company is. Do you?
I was going to say, I was like, it depends on what you mean by a metaverse. Well, I assume it's like the overarching chunk up of and controlling everything that's going on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which they are. If there's so many people that don't fully even understand the depth of what Facebook owns. I remember when when Cambridge Analytica came out, a whole heap of people told me that they deleted Facebook. And I was at someone's birthday, and that birthday was sent out as a group invite in Messenger. And I was like, how did you get, like, I was like, so what, did they call you and tell you about this? Like, what specifically, how did you get here? And then they're like, oh no, I still have Messenger. I just don't have Facebook. I'm like, it's still the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're on Facebook, if you're on WhatsApp, if you're on Instagram, if you're on Messenger. Like, you're still giving them your data. And then they were like, like that. I think that just kind of clicked. It's like, in some way or another, you're probably using a Facebook app, a Facebook Inc. owned app in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
And organic reach on Facebook, is it dead like some people say it is? I know you're quite active with Facebook groups, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, if you use the right avenues, it's definitely not. Like, I know I've got a buddy of mine, Adam Linknorger, who runs I Love Basketball. And they're and he does a whole heap of stuff on YouTube, on Facebook and whatnot, and they get like millions of hits still on all of their profiles and whatnot. They just did a deal with it and with one of the LA Lakers coaches to create a training program, and they still get like phenomenal results on there. So it's like, as long as your content is engaging, people will engage. I believe that for a little while it's come into effect. There's like the new business profile, and then there's a new experience and an old experience. Apparently, people that have moved over to the new experience have seen like a huge influx of traffic on their Facebook pages as well. So it's definitely not dead.
Yeah, well, it's bound to be something that they're addressing, and I think these algorithms just evolve. And the natural response, if you're getting a certain result and you're not getting that result anymore, it's like, Facebook organic reach is dead. Well, maybe it's just changed, and you need to adapt the sort of content you're pushing out or the way you're posting it or what have you. Comments are coming through like crazy. We'll address some of these questions shortly. You mentioned before we got on the live that you're doing a bit of ads on YouTube as well. That's interesting. Why did you choose that platform to do some stuff on, given that you're the Facebook specialist?
This risk mitigation mostly is because obviously we 100% rely on Facebook. So especially for our clients, where we've had clients with us now for like 4 or 5 years, and for them, let's just say a Facebook ad account gets disapproved, like declined, shut down. Their business profile gets declined, shut down. Luckily, we do have a personal Facebook rep, so I can literally jump on the phone and call them and get most things sorted out. Sometimes, though, it doesn't happen. Like, sometimes they're just like, nope, sorry, this person's been ban-hammered. They're blocked. We can't do anything. But they can't even do anything. So it's like, well, what do we do now? That's the entirety of their business was relying on leads generated from Facebook. Then you've got to roll into a few other avenues, and YouTube for us, because a lot of our clients are, I would say, like experts or specialists, and they do a lot of video anyway. So for us, if they're good on video, we're like, well, we may as well cross promote that across to another video platform, being YouTube ads, and generally seems to work pretty similarly.
And these are pre-roll ads, like going in front of videos that are in a similar topic, and
pre-roll in stream. So basically, like before you press play on, you're watching a Nat Bibby video, and just before that comes up, it's like boom,
Comes
hey,
up
this
my
is Kim.
competitor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is Kim. Come over to
Yeah.
Facebook, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to
Sounds
push
like, it sounds awesome. Sounds like something I should be doing, to be honest. Yeah, it's always interesting speaking to you. Like you're on the cutting edge, and it's really interesting to see that you've chosen that platform, given that you're so heavily focused on Facebook. So can you tell the audience a little bit about the Mogul system? I know a bit about it, but I'm sure everyone tuning in would like to hear a bit about what the Mogul system is.
Yeah, so like that's really our entire ecosystem is made up of what we decided to call like becoming a mogul. So the Mogul system is like, how do we unlock what I like to call the Mogul effect, which is where you can really just line up the key areas of your business that you need to have intact, being your market, the mechanism to speak to your market, and then the mechanization, which is around like how do we automate that, how do we free up our time and make all of those work in really a seamless way. And that's what I found. And that's what we do is like we start with our market, we understand it. We start with then really delving into our mechanism and like how do we articulate what it is that we do, and then how do we really try and make it as not hands-free from a running and business perspective, but at least from the lead generation component. Like how do we make it so that it's a well-oiled machine so that we don't have to sit there and be like, oh, are there leads going to come into our business today? It's like, well, we know that we can track our numbers. We know that things work effectively. We know that if we input X, we'll generate Y, which means our company will grow to Z. And that's what we that's what our goal is to help people with.
And for a business that kind of doesn't really have any systemized marketing set up, like to set up that sort of system, must take 6 to 12 months? Does it take
to get the framework done? You can get the framework done in like 12 weeks. But then it would take at least another 12 weeks probably to refine it, because once you build everything, you understand it, you start putting, engine oil into the engine and then fuel into the engine. It's like it takes a while to keep optimizing and improve it. Like we always look for, the jump starts, the short wins. It's like, how can we get something right now? But then it's like we want to get things rolling. And I think most business owners probably fall into the point where they're like, oh, cool, they'll hear like you talk about client results, they hear me talk about client results, and they sound amazing. Like I want those results today. And it's like they really need to zoom out a little bit and expand their time horizons. Because like if it took you a year, if you're still able to make sales and still bring people into your business, but to get to the point where you had a fully systemized marketing machine working for you, would it be worth it if it took a year? Absolutely. It's like, and unless you're only in business for a year or two, it's like there's no rush to do things. And that's probably the bigger thing, that because Facebook ads is easy, because jumping on and spamming on people on LinkedIn and sending terrible messages is easy, people think that they will jump on and do it straight away. And it's like, well, no, you need to, number one, build a plan, but then build it out. Yeah. And if it takes you time, that's okay. Business is not meant to be an overnight success. That's why they always say every overnight success story took about 10 years.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't work at the start, like that's good. You know what's not working. You can start optimizing. The point is you got to start measuring stuff. Like if you know it's not working, but you're measuring it, you can start optimizing to get something that works. There's no point just going, LinkedIn doesn't work, I'm going over to YouTube. That doesn't work, I'm going to go optimize my website and spend $3,000 a month on backlinks or what have you. You got a few fans here, Kim. Loving the vest.
Thanks, living my vest life over here.
So, Kim, do you think we'll see another Certified Ballers event?
Oh, man, if
it must be a lot of hard work, I can imagine.
If Australia would leave us alone with the borders and whatnot, and you can't really. Like I've just seen posts today of a whole heap of people over in Queensland that were meant to be traveling for work to the Northern Territory to do events and stuff like that, and they can't go. And it's like, obviously, like we still do events in Perth. Like we run our mastermind events here, and that's most of them this year have been Perth based, even though we wanted to do some. But I always like to bring in like different and unique speakers, and not
the
that
big
we
fish
don't like
from over east or international.
We have a pretty good pool here in Perth that I normally pull from anyway. For like, I think at CBO we had 70% Perth speakers, but then there's always those few people just with slightly different perspectives I like to get, and unfortunately a lot of them are on the East Coast. So It's
Yeah.
once I'm confident in the border situation, we'll definitely have another CBA.
Yeah, awesome. For those who missed Certified Ballers a couple of years ago, it was an awesome event, Optus Stadium, which is a big stadium here in Perth. We had Mark Boris was the headline speaker. I was fortunate enough to be invited to speak a little bit about LinkedIn, and some of the best speakers in Perth were there, and a few from over east. It was awesome. So hopefully we'll see another one. Let's answer a couple of these questions here. This one here, I'm not sure who the person is. They're probably not in my network, but if a company has $1,000 for ads, where would you suggest spending it?
Probably blackjack. No, I mean it's pretty hard to say with just something like that. So it's super broad. It's like what type of company? Because
what type of company is it? Yeah,
there's a lot of people that I would say, well, maybe like Facebook might not be for you. You might need to go and speak to Nat. You might need to go and do some organic work. You might need to go and do something else. I would just always say like build a simple, fast campaign to test your hypothesis of what it is you think you want to run, and spend $50 or $100. See if anyone clicks on it, engages with it at all, before you then go and spend your other, $900 on something. Because the benefit of, at least for most social platforms and Google as well, being a search platform, is that if like you spend $1 and then you don't like it, you can turn it off. You're not committed to like $1,000 in. It's like every day, every time you get billed, you can pause or stop it. So that's the benefit of most platforms.
And I mean, like it comes back to who you want your customer to be as well. Like if you want to sell to Kim Barrett, send him a DM on Instagram and say, "Hey Kim, do you use Facebook? Where do you spend your time online?" And it might give you some clues as to where to be advertising to him.
Yeah, 100%.
You got to find out where people are hanging out. And Kim, tell us about your latest venture or your partner's venture.
Yeah, so if anyone's in Perth as well, PS, you should definitely go check it out. Accent Cafe down in Subiaco on Hay Street. Yeah, 292 Hay Street. So my partner owns a language school next door where they teach Spanish, Italian, French. So she's designed a cafe / restaurant / wine bar where you will go and you can experience all of those cultures from a food perspective, from a wine perspective. Pretty much the whole wine list is imported from overseas, from Italy, France, and Spain. We do have 1 or 2 local wines as well for the local West Aussies. But it's all built around that. Most of the staff speak at least one other language, French, Spanish, Italian, so that people as well, if you want to go in there and test your skills, you can always go and try and make an order in Spanish, French, or Italian and see how you go as well.
Yeah, awesome. I'm definitely going to check it out. You'll keep an eye out for an Instagram post from me. I'll let the world know when I'm there. Check out some of these wines. That sounds awesome. And then on that note, you opened today, didn't you? So I know you've got to go shoot back to the cafe.
I'll back here and help the guys out.
Before you shoot off, do you want to tell us a bit about the mastermind you got coming up at the end of August? Is that something that people can still get involved in, or is it?
Yeah,
is it all?
2 weeks left because we're running digital tickets for all those people that obviously can't make it in person. mogulmastermind.com.au if you do want to check it out at the end of August. But we've got basically the guy who invented business coaching, being Brad Sugars from Action Coach. He's coming to join us, which is going to be pretty cool. We've got Anna Samios, who is a scaling up coach from Vern Harnish, wrote the book on scaling up, Rockefeller Habits, and what it used to be called as well. And a couple of guys on email marketing, and then myself talking about the latest and greatest of Facebook and marketing in general. And we've got a bunch of amazing masterminders. So our core mastermind group are all joining us in person, and then we'll be live streaming the entire event with interactivity. We'll have mics in the room, mics to pass through for our audience listening at home as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting, and the most interesting online event I would say that you could attend in August would definitely be the Mogul Mastermind.
So the website address one more time.
So Mogul, MOGUL, mogulmastermind.com.au.
Cool. Okay, guys, check that out. I also want to give a quick plug to Kim's podcast. There's a lot of value on the podcast, The Kim Barrett Show. Check that out as well if you're on iTunes or Spotify. Get some really awesome guests on there. I've been enjoying listening to The Kim Barrett Show, so check that out, guys. Kim, we'll let you get back to work, mate. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Okay, guys, don't go anywhere. I've got a couple of things I want to cover. There was a couple of questions about LinkedIn, the LinkedIn algorithm that was dropped on the LinkedIn placeholder for tonight's live, which I want to cover. And I also want to announce a winner from the iTunes reviews that I've received. I mentioned that I would be giving somebody that left a review for the Nathaniel Bibby podcast on iTunes a free LinkedIn Insider membership, which is valued at $597. And the winner is Najma, which I saw jumped into the comments earlier. Where is she? I don't know if she's still here or not. Where are you, Najma? We have so many comments tonight. There she is. Are you still around, Najma? You've won a free LinkedIn Insider membership. I'll be sure to DM you afterwards, but congratulations. I think I'm going to be doing this every week, guys. Might come up with some different prizes, but LinkedIn Insider membership next week. Go to iTunes, leave a review on the Nathaniel Bibby podcast, and you could win a membership. All right, so Pam Brossman and Nami left some comments asking about what makes a post go viral on LinkedIn. I think it was Pam launched Click Me Pages, and she got about 10,000 views on a post. And then what happened was, it was only 3 shares and a few comments. Every time somebody shared that post, they got about 7,000 or 9,000 views. So it was going relatively viral without getting necessarily a lot of likes, comments, or shares. And it had a link in the post itself. But what I noticed as well is a lot of people were sharing their Click Me pages in the comments. So there wasn't a lot of comments, but there was a lot of links in there. And I think what would have happened in that instance is the clicks from LinkedIn to the links. So the people clicking on the link and leaving LinkedIn and going to check out these pages, if there are a lot of clicks, that's going to count as a lot of engagement. So engagement isn't always likes, comments, or shares. It's also people clicking things like see more, people clicking links, people spending more time on the post, people referring back to the post, people saving the post. It's all considered engagement and activity. So that can cause a post to go viral. And if you're sharing a post like that, the clicks will continue. So go check out, if you're tuning in on Facebook or YouTube, go check out this post on LinkedIn, this particular Monday Night Live, and you'll see in the comments the links to the post. Check them out because you can learn quite a bit there about how the LinkedIn algorithm works. Very interesting. So thanks very much, Pam and Nami, for sharing that with me. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in this week. Appreciate all of the comments. Amber, let's see if we've addressed this. Amber's dropping knowledge bombs on LinkedIn as usual. Thank you, Amber. Appreciate that. And thanks so much for all the engagement this week, guys. Have a great week in business, and I'll see you next week on the one and only Monday Night Live.